Hi, welcome to this new video where I'm going to show you a little bit about what's coming in the new update and how it's going to affect the way you use this kit, how it's going to make your life easier and make it a lot more fun. So, the first thing I want to say is this update is really designed to improve the ease of use of the kit, which I think is the biggest problem with it right now. It's kind of obscure. There's a lot of stuff that works under the hood that's not clear. Uh, it's not clear to people what's going on without diving into the code. And what I really want to achieve with this update is for you to be able to see what's going on when you're setting things up with this kit in your game. I want you to be able to see what's going on to not just to be able to add functionality easily, but also to be able to see how it's working when you're adding stuff to the scene. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that with this example, which is um, how to. So in this example, we're going to set up a ship and make it move around in the scene. That's all. Now, first of all, when we in previous versions of the kit, when we create a new scene, the first thing you have to do is dump a lot of scene level components into the scene that weren't related to what you were trying to achieve, but they were necessary for the game to work without errors, and that was just a really bad, really cluttered workflow. So what I want is for you to be able to easily extract a few scripts to do a specific thing and just add that to your scene and nothing else. So here, let's begin by uh, putting a space fighter model into the scene, and then we'll add a material to that. Alright, so what we want to do is add some input to make this move around in the scene. So we'll create a new game object, call it input, and we'll add a player space vehicle flight controls component to it. Now, you'll see here we have a starting vehicle field here. What this allows you to do is directly control uh, a vehicle with an input component without having to go through a game agent. As soon as the game starts, the vehicle will begin to be controlled by this input component. Makes it very easy to set up a simple scene, especially if you're testing something or if you just want a simple architecture for your game. So we'll begin by putting a vehicle component onto this ship. Now before we go on, take a look at this inspector for the vehicle component. We've got the label there, we've got the vehicle class, which is basically a category that allows you to differentiate between different vehicles and the way you set them up in terms of camera, in terms of input. It just gives you a category to work with when you're setting up new vehicles in your game. And under there, we've got 3 events. Now, a big part of this new update is going to be Unity events. The reason why is because Unity events allow you to easily add functionality to your game from the inspector without having to modify scripts. So these key events, when the vehicle is destroyed, when it's reset, which is when you reset to starting conditions after it's been destroyed or something like that, and when the occupant changes, when the game agent changes. So what you can do with these events is you can, if you want to add some functionality, let's say you want to create an explosion when the vehicle is destroyed, you can create your own script that creates the explosion, and you can just create a new event here, drag your component onto here and select the function for creating the explosion. You don't have to go and modify the vehicle component. You don't have to create a child class for the vehicle component just to add an explosion. You can easily hook into these key events for the vehicle with your own stuff. Alright, let's get back to what we were doing. So we have the input component and we want to drive the vehicle with it. So we just drag the vehicle onto the starting vehicle field, and we also need for this input to have a space vehicle engines component, which is just a component for making a ship fly around in the scene. So that's all. We can run the game now. And we're controlling the ship. We can steer it around, we can make it move, and we've got that working. And that's all. We achieved this with 1, 2, 3 scripts. That's all. So, but I want to show you that it's if you want to create something more complicated, something where you have game agents that like player or AI that can enter and exit vehicles, and you want to start and stop the input for specific vehicles when you get into them. It's possible to easily do that too. So let's create a game agent. We'll call that player. We'll add a game agent component. And then, first of all, you'll see there's all these events here as well. You can hook in your own functionality when the game agent dies, when it's reset, and when it changes vehicles. So the first thing we want to do is make this game agent enter this vehicle, enter our spaceship when the game starts. So we'll drag our spaceship onto the starting vehicle field. And then first, the one thing we want to do, okay, so what we want to do is when the game agent enters this spaceship, we want it to look at this input component, and if it's compatible with the spaceship, we want it to run this input component dynamically. So first of all, we'll get rid of the direct control of this input script on our spaceship by setting the starting vehicle to none on our input component. And then we'll go to our player, and in the onVehicleChanged event, we'll create a new event, a new listener, and we'll drag our input component onto there, and we'll go to play space vehicle flight controls, and we'll click on this check run function. So that means that whenever the game agent changes vehicles, it will look at this component and run the check run function, which basically checks if the input is compatible with the vehicle. Now this check run function is part of a base class called vehicle input, which you can derive from when you're creating your own vehicle components, so that you can start the input, stop the input, and check compatibility with specific vehicles. So we can now run the game. And you'll see our game agent now entered this vehicle, checked the input component, and ran it because it was compatible with this vehicle. So that's all. hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to create some more videos soon, showing you what's coming in this update, and hopefully the update will be up real soon and you can start having fun with it. So stay tuned.